Welcome to another episode of Trekcast with your host Daniel Reyes, Chad Waldo, and Dan Lombardo. This episode brought to you by Magic Blood for when you are having writer's block and need to wrap up a story quickly. Also, by Dan's Shuttle Van Down by the River. Are you a Starfleet dropout? Need a place to live? Dan's Shuttle Van Down by the River has space available. Finally by Chad is Wrong. If you're going to be wrong, be Chad wrong. It's like being wrong but all the time. And now it's time for Trekcast.
Blah, 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 computer stuff, blah, blah, blah. But, you know.
Okay.
What else?
You don't mean it's staticky, you mean you just don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well,
Let's
that
clarify.
I switched off of Wi-Fi onto cellular. So
Okay.
I forgot to do that, and I heard nothing for a few minutes, and then I came back to techie, tech.
This week in tech news.
I have turned into the IT tech guy at work. It eats up way too much of my time.
Yeah.
So, if we'd all just switched to Mac, we wouldn't have any of the problems. So anyway, and I know it is a fact. I mean, when I had my shop, everything that places Windows, we had 7 different Windows PCs throughout the whole facility. And I was spending 5, 6, 7 hours a week on IT crap. And I said, forget this. I went and pulled the hard drives out of all of them, threw everything away, went down to the Apple Store, plunked down about 10 grand, maybe a little more than that, and put Macs in the whole shop. Guess how much IT time I had from that day moving forward?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
So it was worth every penny. Anyway.
All right, hey, Star Trek.
Yep, let's get right into the show because we got a lot to do. We've only got about an hour here, so let's go.
Yeah,
let's
let's
just go right into the news, Daniel.
Oh, yeah. So no fake news today. Actual news stories.
There should be one every once in a while, though.
No, I don't know.
We talked about that in like our second episode. I re-listened to some old episodes this week just for ha-has. And oh yeah, Star Trek fake news. Yeah, that was a thing we did for like a week.
Just like Paddington, just like Alf.
Yeah. Oh,
These things don't last. Prince will be gone by today. Anyways.
Attention all hands. It's time for Star Trek news.
First news story comes from Sci-Fi Wire, and there's no real headline. It's more of just a little update, but it's kind of cool. I don't know if you guys live near a Dave & Buster's. We don't have them in Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But in 122 locations nationwide, you will get the chance to play Star Trek Dark Remnant. It's a 4-player co-op VR. And,
it is co-op. Good. I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah. So the game takes place on the USS Galileo, and you're set on rescuing the Enterprise from certain doom. This is the second VR game for Star Trek. Bridge Crew was the first.
Yep.
And it's super a lot of fun. I tried looking for screenshots. I couldn't find anything. But looks like a pretty cool setup. So,
have you ever been to a Dave & Buster's?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. They're adult Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, it's a Chuck E. Cheese with beer.
For adults, yeah. It's a Chuck E. Cheese for adults. So we've got plans to go to the one that's here at the Legends over on the Kansas side. We've got plans for a bunch of us to go out there and play this game specifically. That's for me anyway. Everybody else is going to want to drink and play other games. But for me, I'm going to play that game. So I'm glad to hear it's a co-op. That means I can wrangle 3 other people into that game with me at the same time. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I want to review.
I will. It'll probably be May before we get out there because of timing and everything else going on. But yeah.
Yeah, there's one in Albany. We go to it every now and then.
Cool.
Right on. The next news story comes from TrekNews.net. And the headline is, Official Guide to Star Trek the Animated Series to be released later this year. So Simon & Schuster and CBS Consumer Products, are getting together to release a 160-page book about the 22 episodes of the animated series. The book is set to release on September 3rd and is available for pre-order right now on Amazon. So they're saying that this is the first of its kind to really deep dive into the animated series. So it should be kind of neat. Figured people would be interested in that. I don't know. I'm not really a big animated series guy. I think maybe I've seen like a handful of episodes.
Yeah, I bought the I bought the series about 10 years ago, and it's on the shelf, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that someday. And I just never got around to it.
It's on CBS. It's on CBS All Access.
Yeah, well.
So after this month, I won't have CBS All Access.
Same. Yeah.
I really am interested in the Twilight Zone, though.
You should buy another month. Oh yeah, I saw the commercial for the Twilight Zone last night.
Looks really good.
After Discovery.
They released the first episode of that already.
Yeah.
On YouTube. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh, they released it on YouTube. They did that again, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that means that show's already in trouble.
No, yeah. It's gone. It's gone. It's dead. Yeah. And the last news story.
So it's canceled like Discovery?
It's canceled like Discovery,
exactly.
It'll only have 6, 7, 8 seasons.
Well, they don't even have Anson Mount, so it's gone.
Right. Yeah. They've already fired Jordan Peele. I mean,
right.
I have inside sources that say this.
Indeed. The last news story comes from Mental Floss, and the headline is, "The surprising reason Star Trek's Mr. Spock has green blood." And I feel like, Dan, do you know why this is?
Yeah, it's because his blood is not iron-based, it's copper-based, and it gets oxidized when it hits the environment, and that's why it's green, but it's not actually green inside his body. Is that...
No, I think they're meaning more of where they got the inspiration for the green blood.
Oh, I thought you wanted, like, the real world, why it's really green.
No.
Warning, nerd alert, nerd.
Wrote it to be green.
No.
I don't know who's editing, but I need, like, 9 nerd alerts.
Oh, for sure.
That answer, you know that,
for
right?
For sure. Oh, yeah. So the real reason, the inspiration, I should say, comes from a pretty interesting source. So apparently Gene Roddenberry was fascinated with human pathology, and one of the cases that he studied was a pair of Siamese twins out of Thailand, and these twins, allegedly, when they had their autopsy in 1875, it was documented that they had green blood. And that's where he took the idea for that. I don't know if they really had green blood, but that's what was documented.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
They said a lot of crazy shit back in 1875, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe part of their body had some sort of growth that had green something inside of it, but...
Mold, fungus.
Yeah, but,
but
it's not green.
It's also an autopsy report from the 1800s.
That's true.
Out of Thailand.
Yeah, that's true.
Green blood. So whatever.
Was it magic blood, Daniel?
It was magic
blood.
Everything relates back to magic blood and mysteries of the mind.
Exactly. I just thought that was a cool fact.
Interesting. Interesting.
It wasn't a lot of stories today.
It kind of reminds me of the what's that Imhotep or whatever they found in Turkey that they think was a more advanced civilization and from 12,000 BC instead of the Egyptians being the more advanced civilization in 5,000 and 6,000 BC. It reminds me of that kind of thing where, what the hell?
Right.
Anyway, all right, is that it for the news?
That's it.
We brushed right through that. Okay, now into the feedback section.
Incoming subspace signal. Incoming subspace signal. Incoming subspace signal. Incoming subspace signal.
Do you have any feedback for us, Daniel? I know I do.
Yeah, go ahead. I got to pull mine up.
Okay, I got 2 things. One, as you heard, or as you're going to hear, Craig Erickson gave us our intro, so thank you for that, sir. If you've got any, he sent that to the chatiswrong@gmail.com email address. If you like that intro, you want to do one yourself, please send it in. We want to hear it. I did not actually listen to Craig's before we even recorded the show. We just slapped it on in there. So kudos to that for whatever it sounds like. I haven't heard it yet. So.
And Daniel just downed a bottle of pills.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. Like a boss. You were just like,
Oh, yeah.
I missed it. I was looking away. What was it? Show it to me.
It's my medical pills.
Oh, okay.
It was time.
Welcome to
Yeah, but he
Trekcast
just-
TNG. We are medicated.
He put his lips up to it like it was a Snapple and just
It's a box of
tilted
Tic
it back.
Tacs. It's
Yeah.
a box of Tic Tacs is what
I've
it
been
is.
doing this a while. Yeah.
So back to the intro.
Back to the feedback, yeah.
Yeah, if any of you, if you don't want to do an intro, but you just want to record a message
Yeah.
for us, you can do that too.
Yeah.
We're always looking for feedback. We're always looking for interaction with the listeners. So, if you have something to say and you want to share it and you don't want to type it, you want to say it or shout it from the mountaintop, do that too. Just
I would love
record
some
it.
international ones too.
Yeah. That would be
Yeah,
good. I know we have a
that'd
lot
be
of
good.
international listeners, so that would be
Yeah.
good to hear that.
Yeah.
So, and the other little bit of feedback we got actually comes from our coffee account. So we've had a few more donations over there. Thanks, guys, for keeping that up. We are
Thank you.
9% of the way towards our goal.
I know. Guys, we really need help.
Yeah, it's
We need better equipment.
it
We
is
gotta
running
do
kind of
this.
slow, but hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
We don't really push it that much, So I mean,
Exactly.
there's that, but I don't want to be overbearing with it anyway. So if you can help, great. If not, hey, it's okay. The show's always going to be free. But this is part of how we want to have the interaction with everybody that's listening. We want to improve the show. We are listening. We are trying to do things to make the show better, more enjoyable, more fun, look better, nicer. That's why I've got this thing behind me now. So anyway, this one comes from Gentry.
That's why I take pills.
Yeah. So you can
send us
listen
some
to
money
my,
so we can get Daniel some more pills.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Daniel's medicated so that he can listen to me give my soundbite opinions. Anyway, so that's for you, Denise. Anyway, this comes from Gentry the G-Man, and he said, "So you have to read it, huh?" And that's right. If you make a donation over to the coffee account, you can leave a comment if you want. You don't have to, but you can. And then that means I have to read it on the show. Every single one of them. So here he goes. He says, "So you have to read it, huh? Do you know who the sexiest woman in Star Trek is? Star Trek is? Kai Wynn.
Check.
Yeah, he says Kai Wynn.
Ugh.
Michael Burnham is the best developed and most realistic character in all of Trek. I love that it is so hard to find plot holes in Disco, and aren't the Disco Klingons just the best?" So you
Is
can
your
tell.
soul burning right now?
Yeah, you can tell he wrote that specifically, so I would have to read that.
Yeah.
Kai Wynn is the sexiest. Holy shit!
I mean,
I need
I'm gonna have
pills
to
for that.
disagree. Yeah, more pills. Just tons of pills. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about what it was like.
Hold on, what do I got in here?
I was gonna say I just happen to have a thing of allergy pills, and I've got some of these too for when I travel.
I got
Dude,
I got
There-
Pop-Tart bites.
Down the Pop-Tart bites. Oh my god!
Hey,
There's
I got a
a-
6-year-old and a pregnant wife. You'd be surprised what's in the center console of this thing.
A fish stick, some fries, a
Those
hot
are under
pocket,
the seat.
a hot pocket.
Hot pocket.
So Craig Erickson did submit a question on the Facebook group.
Okay, good.
Who would win in a dance-off? Prince or Stamets?
And he spelled Stamets wrong, so it was
He
like
did,
Stamus.
yeah.
Prince or Stamus? Who's
Yeah,
Stamus? He sounds like an old man.
an
old Irishman. My impressions are horrible, sorry.
Would that be a jig or would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah. The winner is Prince. There's no question.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We did see the music video that the disco crew did there
That's
with all of them
true.
on the bridge in their outfits, and Stamets looked like he was tied to a pole the whole time he was moving. He couldn't move very freely, so
Really?
yeah, he did. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's because of the outfit or because he doesn't know how to dance. Something tells me the albino kid actually knows how to dance, but
Yeah.
not like
well, I
Prince.
think are we talking about the actor or are we talking about the character?
Well, if we're talking about the character, then no way.
Because he was married to the doctor who I'm sure it took him salsa dancing many, many, many times.
Oh,
He
of
had to-
course they went salsa dancing. That's right. Oh, is
Either-
that the game we're gonna play?
Well, it's either that or a mariachi band. Which one? I mean,
Whoa! You think when I date somebody, I take them to mariachi? Of course.
See.
That's because it's me.
see.
Did you see the video of the mariachi band doing Bohemian Rhapsody?
Oh, hell yeah, I did.
Yes.
Daniel was offended a minute ago. Now he's like, hell yeah, dude, that's my ringtone.
That's right.
Oh, wait until you hear my ringtone.
Oh, no.
I also have Mexican judo. You don't know if I got a gun. You don't know if I got a knife. You don't know if I got friends outside, man.
Scared.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
just
that's
gonna
it
leave.
for feedback.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it. So, again, if
All
you're
right.
not part of the Facebook group, you kind of missed part of that joke where the question came from with the whole Prince dance-off thing. And somebody else asked a question as part of that, too. Which one of the three of us would develop a hollow addiction, and if we did,
Oh, yeah.
what would it be? And my response was, yeah, it'd be me. Out of the three of us, I think I'd be the first one to develop the addiction, and you wouldn't want to know what I was doing inside of it. So,
Right.
Well, I asked a clarification question, and I got no follow-up. My clarification question was, are we assuming that we're living in 2019 but now have holodeck technology? Or are you transporting me to the 24th century to see if I develop this holo addiction? Because honestly, if I'm in 2019 and I have a holodeck, I'm just going to create a program where I'm living in the 24th century and then just never come out of it.
there you go.
So, yeah.
yeah, because,
Nice.
I mean, you can replicate your food in there and everything else. Why would you ever leave?
Oh, I would go full nog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, I'm going to be a dick, and I'll be like, my answer is in the group, and you have to join the group. To see it.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah,
There you go.
Nice.
Boom.
Boom.
And you should. If you're listening to the show and you're not in the Facebook group, I know I'm starting to say this every single week, but it is true. If you're listening
We
to the
have
show
to, though. That's
and you're not in the
TV
group,
and all that.
you're kind of missing some of the jokes and some of the little inside stuff going on. Now, that doesn't mean you have to. You can obviously listen to the show and not be part of the group. That's fine. You also don't have to say anything if you're part of the group. You can just kind of read along, and if you don't feel like saying anything, you don't have to either. And the
Yeah,
opposite is true.
You can just lurk about.
Yeah. And stalk
Oh, we
the
have lurkers.
Yeah, stalk
We
the
have
people that
lurkers, I
join the
know.
group like we do. Anyway,
Yeah.
so or you could be part of the group and not listen to the show, in which case you have no idea what I'm saying right now. So that's fine as well. You can also follow us over on Twitter and on Instagram. Both of those are at Trekcast TNG. Okay,
Orale.
that's it for the feedback.
That's it. Yeah.
Running right along. Let's go right into the
It's
topic.
the pills.
Yes. So, of course,
Talking about Star Trek in this week's topic. Talking about the Star Trek in this week's topic.
Through the Valley of Shadows, I believe is the title of this week's episode. There are three, count them, three story arcs or different stories going on throughout this one. There's the main one, there's a middle one, and then there's one that gets almost a throwaway line, almost. So, of course, the whole episode starts off with, excuse me, I apologize. The whole episode starts off with everybody talking about, hey, we got the 4th out of 7 signals, we can see where it's at, it's over the planet Borath, and we got to go there. And of course, what, am I wrong? I see you shaking
No.
your head. Oh,
No, CBS is wrong, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
CBF is wrong because, I mean, Borath, this looks like, okay, so anyway, I'll get to that in a second. So, the
Yeah,
part
let's
of,
get through the recap first.
yeah,
and
the
then
part
we'll-
the part of this opening scene when they're talking in Pike's ready room about going to Borath and trying to discern these signals that I really enjoyed was when Burnham gets pissed off and she's like, no, the signals are a freaking waste of time. We need to go kill Leland, period. And this is basically Burnham going back to her roots of the Vulcan Hello, the very first episode of the whole darn, season 1, right? And I think she's right. At this point, when I'm watching this, I'm like, finally, Michael's right. She's going on we need to go on the offensive. We need to shoot first. We need to kill him. We need to get this thing over with. Who cares about the signals at this point? We've got to stop Control. We've got to stop Leland. So that all makes perfect sense to me for about half the show. So anyway, they decide to go. Pike's like overrides. He's like, no, we got to stay on mission. Okay, we got to stay on mission. Giorgio is going after Leland. So, and that's one little throwaway line because we don't really know what happened to Giorgio. All we know is she was beamed up from the surface or something, along with everybody else actually at the end of the last episode. So, but she's not there. She's going after Leland. They spore jump right to Borath, but they try to play that down as if, just another day. So we're still using the spore drive. But I'll get to it in a minute. I'll get to it in a part of our discussion here is why I think that's okay now. When Pike goes down to Borath, or before he goes down to Borath anyway, he's got this this nice little scene. I kind of enjoyed this where L'Oreal and Tyvok are arguing back and forth in Klingon about what to do about their kid or whether or not they can go down there or not and all that. And Pike just kind of jumps into the little argument and says, "No, I'm the one going down there."
Yeah.
So that was kind of a fun little scene. I know it's L'Oreal and Ash Tyler. L'Oreal and Tyvok sounds better to me. Anyway, so Pike goes down to the planet. This is the part that kind of frustrates me. They turned Borath into Middle Earth. I mean, it looks like a scene from Middle Earth. I'm waiting for the Eye of Sauron to show up in the background somewhere. And now the time crystals are there. The Klingons have time crystals. They're growing naturally on Borath, and they've had them all this time, and they don't use them. Are you telling me there's not one single house in the, 27 houses of the Klingon Empire that wouldn't say, hey, you know what? Damn my honor. I'm going to go kill everybody by going back in time and wiping everybody out. And now I and my whole house rule everything forever and ever and ever because we have ultimate control and power. I mean,
you think they would have used it even more?
It's even more ridiculous than that.
Yeah.
We know from season 7 of TNG.
That's correct. I was going to bring that up.
The monks of Borath use genetic material of Caleb.
Warning, warning, nerd alert, nerd alert.
To create a clone of Kalas. Originally they wanted him to reconquer the Empire. In the end, we know it didn't work out like that. But why would you take a bloodstain off of a wall and clone your Messiah if you have a whole cave full of time crystals and you can go back in time and get the real guy?
Yeah.
And just bring him forward and not have to deal with any of the subterfuge. Yep. And nonsense. It makes no sense. It's like, leave the Klingons out of it. Leave Borath out of it. If the storyline requires time crystals, create a new race of people that have the
that are reclusive
crystals.
And no one knows about them too much because they're reclusive and you're supposed to stay away and whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, you could easily have written that over there, but it's got to be the Klingons. I know they've rewritten. They've rewritten everything about Borath at this point because in TNG, in the episode Rightful Heir, that's when they first get introduced, and that's what you're talking about is that episode right there.
Yep.
And in DS9, Worf even talks about going and spending time on Borath. He likes to go and hang there.
Yep.
Well, the bad thing about that, and they make it even worse, is at one point, L'Oreal makes a comment that no one's supposed to visit there, ever. No Klingons are supposed to visit there, and they're separate from the Chancellor and the Klingon Empire and everything else, and you're supposed to leave them alone. People get sent there in exile, and they're monks, and that's it, and you're supposed to leave them alone, and most people believe that the time crystal things are a myth. They don't really think it's true, so they kind of try to write that out, but they just make this convoluted mess again. So they didn't need to. Yet again, they're taking the Klingons and turning them into a convoluted mess. But although I do love the shot of the D7, you don't get very much of it. It's there. Looks pretty cool, but you don't get much of it. And I want more of that. That D7 looks kind of nice.
I feel like I'm just standing on the side of the road waving at the train wreck as it's burning. That is the storylines. Because I knew all this was coming with Kurtzman.
Yeah.
Those of you listening to the podcast instead of watching it, you're not getting the full experience because you're seeing this movement of my head. It's almost like I can't even control it. I'm just shaking my head as we're talking about this. Just stop messing with the Klingons.
Yeah.
Leave them alone. They were fine the way they were.
Yep.
Hey, they're messing with the Borg right now too. So.
Well, I don't think that these nanites are the origin of the Borg. I don't think that's possible unless they want to totally reinvent it. But that gets back to the whole discussion we had a few weeks ago about how this whole thing is in a different timeline, and when they get done with this, however many seasons they do, they're going to have a reboot of TOS.
Hold on, I want to ask a question and see if I can pour some gas on this fire.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Dan, how long till we have lightsabers in this?
Oh, don't come on, come on.
You know it's coming. It's our
wanna,
phaser sword.
I want to go back and rewatch some TNG episodes, but I'm pretty sure that at some point in an episode, Dr. Crusher brought up the term nanites and had to explain to the rest of the senior staff what they were.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yet here they are, 100 years earlier, and it's commonplace.
Yeah.
And not only is it commonplace, but they're really freaking advanced to the point to where they can melt away into a stream of infinite little nanite fingers and come chase after you.
Yep.
So we'll get
It's
to that.
the T-1000.
It's the T-1000 is what it is. Yeah.
That's what I thought of too.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Anyway, the part of this episode, there's a couple of parts of this episode that I actually really enjoyed, and the rest of it's shit. But the part that I did enjoy is when Pike goes down to the planet outside of Barath anyway, outside of it looking like Middle Earth, and Ash Tyler and L'Oreal's son is now 40 and wears some sort of headband thing from Babylon 5. It must have been left over on a set somewhere, and they picked it up and slapped it on him.
It's the cardboard crown you get at Burger King.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, he's the new king. So anyway, new king of Middle Earth. He defeated Sauron. So with that said, I do like the scene where he does. Okay, they see the time crystals. It's a MacGuffin, whatever. It's a trope, and they're using it like mad because they're all drunk on it. But whatever. So, but I did like the scene where he sees his future. Now we know what happens to Pike, right? At some point. And we see that it's so bad and so far beyond anything else that he's not going to be able to push himself around in a wheelchair. He's not going to be able to get augments like Ariam was able to get augments because he's that freaking bad off. And when they do a reimagining of what the chair looks like and the sounds, they almost make it sound like the chair is what's compressing his chest and opening it back up, so it forces him to breathe. I mean, that wheezing sound that's there.
Yeah.
And he's so debilitated that he basically is just a lump. He's a vegetable at that point. Is what they make it sound like. So I kind of like how they did that.
Yeah, but they made it sound like Ariam was pretty much, she was RoboCop. She was like a brain in a robot body.
Right.
So.
But maybe Pike's brain is so far irradiated and screwed up that you couldn't even do that, and all they can do is just put him in a chair.
He could blink. Yeah, he could blink yes or no.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But again, it goes back. Well, all right. I both loved that scene and hated that scene at the same time, and here's why. Okay, Pike has a choice to make. I need this crystal to save all of sentient life in the universe. But if I go down this path, I know that this is going to be my future.
Yeah.
And he does it. And he does it anyway.
Yep.
He does it anyway, like a good soldier. You could hear him.
You know why he does it anyway?
He was psyching himself up.
Yeah.
He was psyching himself up.
Yeah.
Okay, but at the same time, he saw a vision of where he was when that happened. Now we don't know if that's if that's engineering on the Enterprise.
It looked like it.
Or another ship or whatever. But, what sane person would ever serve on that ship again? Okay, as soon as this crisis is over, I would call Admiral Cornhole into the ready room and be like, listen, that time crystal showed me that I'm going to get messed up on the Enterprise in engineering. So you need to transfer me off the Enterprise right now. I'm never going back to that ship. And if you tell me no, I'm resigning my commission and moving to Nevada.
He could open a restaurant in New Orleans.
Exactly.
Just like Cisco's dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, he could be Cisco's great grandpa. Anyway, so
why not? Why not? At this point, yeah.
No, the reason he does it. Okay, this is everything in Star Trek in Disco anyway is all tied together, and the writers are geniuses. And here's why: they tie it back to one throwaway line. I know, I'm just kidding, but Dan's about to have a heart attack or epileptic.
I want to hear the line.
What I said, but
I'm looking for pills.
It all comes back to one line that was kind of a throwaway line and kind of also a what the fuck kind of line at one point, but it was by Admiral Cornhole, and she tells Pike that he is the best of Starfleet, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he does it, because he's got a crush on her, and at one point she told him he was the best.
Is he the best around? Nobody's going to keep him down?
That's right. He's the best around.
He's Ralph Macchio?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's Ralph Macchio.
Me.
Yeah.
Pike. Anyway, so while all that's going on, while all that's going on down on the planet, because all that takes the whole episode for that to happen almost. But back up on the ship, Burnham's like, screw this. I'm not staying around and dicking with this stuff. I'm going to go and grab Ash Tyler, and the two of us.
This shit sounds boring.
It does.
Go.
Yeah, this is boring. I'm going to leave. I want to go track down Leland. That's what I'm going to do. So I go talk to Tyler, and this is the second kind of overarching story that's going on. Is her and Spock wind up taking a shuttlecraft and going and tracking down this one Section 31 ship that checked in 10 minutes late from all the other ships. Like
Spock, who's still not wearing a uniform.
Still not wearing a uniform.
Just go to any replicator.
Yeah.
Any replicator. Just put on.
Why is he not? I don't understand.
He's got the beard.
What's the hair, the beard, and the no uniform thing all about? Like, really? Like, at this point, I understood at the beginning because he kind of supposedly lost his mind, but he didn't. At this point, I don't understand what the hell they're doing. Culber's back in uniform, and he was dead, okay? So, Spock, you weren't really nuts. Put your uniform on, dude. You're still a member of Starfleet. Otherwise, get the hell off my ship. So, go back to the Enterprise or something. But anyway.
It's Chad's ship now.
Yeah, so Burnham decides to take off in a shuttlecraft, and she gets the okay from Saru, who's like, hell yeah, go attack first. I love this, how Saru is just like, yeah, go beat the shit out of him. I don't care. Yeah, go for it. He needs it. So that was great. That was a cool little scene between those two of them. She was like, I thought you would argue with me.
Saru's watching Bloodsport in the
back.
Yeah,
he is. I have a feeling if they were to do it right at some point, that he goes a little too far. I want to see his attack ganglia come back out and accidentally just nail somebody. Because he gets pissed and he can't control it. He is a predator. He's not a prey species anymore. He is now a predator, and he's strong. We all know that. He's a strong brother. So at some point, it needs to go just a little too far, and he has to bring it back.
Or he's a villain in season 3.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's the captain of. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that's going on, and they go take off. They find this Section 31 ship, and while they're kind of figuring out what's going on there, we have the third little thing going on, which is we finally see Jet Reno again from engineering. We have the little scene with her and Linus and everybody else sitting around eating, having a good time, and Stamets is just there poking around his food, being all down and dopey Stamets. I don't have a man, Anyway, he's all mopey and shit. So, and then Culber walks in, and he stares at him, and he gets all, and Reno's like, man, I thought we were beyond this, But I did love the little back and forth between her and Linus. That was kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But I didn't understand that game because I'm not smart enough to know what the hell that meant, and my English language skills are not very good either. So I don't know what an anagram is or whatever they're calling about. What were they doing?
They were.
It's a word game.
Yeah, it was a word game. They were looking for words that mean both the same thing and the opposite at the same time.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to remember
kind of like bad and awesome.
It was like overbearing or Overwatch or
Overwatch.
Yeah,
I thought it was foresight. Was it foresight?
I don't know. Anyway, it was a word game of some kind that I suck
Doesn't
at.
Doesn't matter.
So.
Someone will correct us.
Yep, please do. Anyway,
Mike Medina will tell us how stupid we are and and explain the whole thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was a fun little scene, though. And, of course, now we have to see Jet Reno go into the infirmary for a hangnail.
Mm-hmm.
But
because she's really there to call out you.
She's really there to call out Culber, which at some point, can you just let the guy, live his life? Do we have to play matchmaker between these two? Can we just let him make his life? Or live his life and just make his own decisions? Do these two have to get back together? I mean, I guess at some point, the writing is going to make it to where they have to get back together, but whatever. I mean, let the guy be the guy, okay? Anyway.
Well, it's moonlighting. It's the
It
old will they
is.
won't
We gotta throw in some drama in there, I guess. But
Right.
that's the third little thing going on. But then after they get through that ridiculous, unnecessary scene, they jump right back into Spock and Burnham finding the Section 31 ship. Everybody's dead, except for one character who happens to be someone that Burnham knows, because, as we know, it's all about Michael Burnham. Anyway, so they get onto the ship. They bring this guy aboard. They get him, you revive him and all that. And they're like, we have to get onto the ship and figure out what's going on. They get onto the ship, and long story short, guess what? Boom. This guy is not that guy. This guy is Control. He's another nanite figure guy running around. And we get into this ridiculous, I've shot you 12 times, and it finally put a hole in your chest. And now, instead of like just dying or burning or whatever, you turned into a puddle of goo and nanites that's going to come flying after me. I did like the double-fisted pew, 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 pew from Burnham. She's got two pistols at the same time. That was pretty good.
She went John McClane.
She went John McClane on it, yeah. So that was pretty good. And, of course, Spock's in the background. Like, what the hell's he doing? But finally, like, I don't know, he's turning on some gravity plating or something, or magnetic plating to lock him in place.
He had to hit buttons.
That's what it was. He's over there mashing on the buttons until something happened. But
yeah, that's how I play video games.
Yeah. Left, right, left, up, down, left. A, B, B. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
So when the whole thing ends up there, though, and they kind of get recontrol of the ship, they don't know where they're at. I forget how that ended. They don't know where they're at. Did they kind of figured out where the destination was, but did they fly that ship back to where Discovery is, or did they just...
I thought they took their shuttle back.
I think they took their shuttle.
So you have control of a Section 31 ship, one of, I don't know how many, apparently there are 31 ships in the fleet, and I'll get to that in a minute, which is fitting, right? Because,
right.
Let's be
Why not?
Captain Obvious here for a moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, why wouldn't you keep yourself in control of that ship? Why would you take your shuttle back to Discovery? Why wouldn't you fly that ship and everything that it's got on it back to Discovery?
Oh, because you don't want to spend the CGI budget.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a ship that's meant to be crewed by a minimum of, well, it's Star Trek, so 47 people.
Yeah.
And you're 2 people?
Yeah.
You probably can't. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'd still want to remain in
Star
control
Trek,
of it.
In Star Trek 3, when they stole the Enterprise, Scotty had to make modifications to automate everything so that 6 people could operate the ship. Not even 6 people, because Bones was useless.
Right.
At that point, he was talking gibberish. So
why wouldn't they be able to do that though with that ship? I just don't understand how they wouldn't be able to just. It's autopilot. What the hell? If something happens, just stop. Let's go fix it, and then let's keep going again. You can do one thing at a time.
Well, could 2 naval officers operate a battleship by themselves?
Very slowly and very janky, but yes, I think they probably could in a time of crisis. I'm kind of thinking they probably could.
But they could operate a PT boat a lot better. That's my point. It's a smaller vessel. Yeah. It's a crew of 2.
Right. So again, then if you can't, let's say you can't, right? Ring, ring, ring on my interstellar space phone. Call Pike. Say, hey, why don't you guys spore jump over here? It'll take you 5 seconds. Yeah. It'll take you 5 seconds to jump over to where I'm at. And say, hey, Pike. Hey, we've got a Section 31 ship. Why don't you come get us? Hey, Brian, that's a good job. Yeah, we'll come get you right now. Okay, great, thanks. And then they jump in, and there you go. You got the extra crew, and now you don't give that ship back over to Control.
Back over to Control. Send emojis.
Yeah.
Thumbs up in a ship.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just texting back and forth,
Yeah.
But anyway,
a frowny face and a shuttle.
Yeah.
A thumbs up in a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of ways you could have done that much. Anyway, so You're basically just giving that ship back over to Control at that point, which, as we find out, is why, at the end of this episode, as I don't know where Burnham and Spock are, if they're back yet or not, I forget, but they've got a little problem. 30 Section 1 ships all show up around them all at the same time. 30, not 31, because that 31 ship is out there in space somewhere. Mm-hmm. So apparently, and someone makes a comment that's the entire fleet. Maybe it's Tyler, I forget, but he says that's the entire fleet. Well, okay, so there are 31 ships in Section 31's fleet.
Which again, which is stupid in and of itself.
Yeah.
That the super secret organization is not secret enough to hide the number of ships that they have.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So, anyway, that's kind of how the whole thing ends. Is we've got the time crystals. Pike knows his future. He's taking it anyway in stride, like a man.
Mhm.
But now we've got Section 31 under the complete. All the ships anyway. It looks like are under the complete control of control. Whether the nanites are on every individual ship or not doesn't matter. Leland's in command, so he doesn't have to have physical control over all the ships. He can just be commanding them to do what he says.
Oh yeah, Space Ultron's taking it down.
Space, yeah, it is. It's Space Ultron. They're taking a page right from the MCU. If they're not copying original Star Trek episodes, then they're copying the MCU at this point. So anyway, that's kind of how it all ends. We don't know where it's going from there. Although in the trailer, they kind of allude to, hey, we got to call the Enterprise in. So we'll get to see the Enterprise and maybe even number 1 for one last time. There's only 2 episodes left. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, she's eating a cheeseburger again. They're going to be in the cafeteria or the cafe, as the kids call it these days.
She should just walk onto the bridge like, licking her fingers like she just had one.
Yep. So, I mean, that's the episode in a nutshell. Lots of problems with it. Obviously, the rewrite of Borath is a huge problem.
Ridiculous.
The way that they've portrayed the technology at this part of the show and Pike's chair, even though I love the treatment of Pike's chair, is still a problem. And the whole AI nanites swarming like T2 from Terminator is a real problem as well. It's not the Borg, though. And unless, of course... Again, like I've said for a long time now, either this is a whole new timeline or they're rebooting everything. And when this show is done, they're rebooting TOS.
Did you watch that video I sent you guys? The featurette about this episode?
No, I did not.
Okay. So in that video, it's Anson Mount and Alex Kurtzman's talking about this episode specifically. And one of the things that just infuriated me, there's Alex Kurtzman sitting there, and he's like, yeah, this episode gave us the chance to really unshackle ourselves from canon.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's in there. I'm going to post it in the group and watch people go nuts. But it's crazy. So, like, when you said that, it makes me feel like they feel tied down to canon. Like, it feels restrictive.
Well, okay.
And I get it storyline-wise. Like,
it is because you picked this
timeline. They decided when to set this show.
Yeah, exactly. So you tied yourself to canon by doing that, you dumbass.
Yourself.
Yeah,
you're shackling yourself by doing that.
Yeah, and if you don't understand that, then what the hell are you doing as a writer?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I have a question. Just because with this show, I'm constantly doing head games, trying to fit things into canon, trying to make things make sense. Do we know how long Pike was in that chair before Spock grabbed him up and took him to Talos in the menagerie? I mean, was his injury something recent? Had he been in that condition for several years?
No, it can only be it can only be a couple of years. It can't be it can't be more than maybe 4 at the most, just because of the way the timeline is between the first time he goes to that planet and where Menagerie is in the timeline. That there's only like 6 years between the two, I think, is what we kind of figured out this last time around when we were watching this. I'm
wondering if...
So it can't be very long.
I'm wondering if he's in the chair because he doesn't want to be what Ariam became. Like, that was a choice for him. Like, it was an option for him. You know, we can, Captain, we can Robocop you, and, you'll be walking around next week, but you're going to look like this. And,
he blinked and said no.
Yeah, that wasn't something he was interested in. And this is not so much, it's more of a life support chair than anything. It's like a temporary thing.
But, like, personally, I feel like if I had those choices, Robocop me.
Except that she was hacked and wasn't in control of her faculties.
Yeah.
And as someone who has spent his career in command of others, I don't think he would want to put himself
No.
in that situation.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe they'll circle back to it and circle back to the Arium
I doubt it.
storyline.
They need to leave it open with him. And the best, if they were going to write anything about Pike at this point to fill in, exactly how does that thing happen and how long is he in the chair and all of this, there needs to be a scene where he's talking to, because he knows what's going to happen, right? There needs to be a scene at some point where he's talking to Spock and he says, if anything happens to me, I do not
Take
want...
me back to Talos.
Yeah, take me back to Talos 4 and leave me there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's all it has to be, is one little throwaway line, and that's it. And maybe the amount of time that he's in the chair is a week. And they're doing that to save his life, but they plan on doing other things, and Spock has to basically disobey his command, because that's kind of what he does in the original series, right? And he goes and grabs Pike and takes him to Talos 4, and there you go. Now you've wrapped all that up and kind of made that clean and neat. But of course they won't do that. I think what they should do is leave it open and not touch it again. Just not even touch it again. Because Pike's done. In two more episodes, he's done. Right? So you don't need to say anything else. Now, things that are going around I'm seeing on the internet about that show, this episode, is the next 2 episodes somehow, or maybe the next episode for sure, when they abandon Discovery to blow it up, to get rid of the data that's on board from the Sphere, and they all go over to the Enterprise, maybe that's where the tie-in to Calypso will come in, where Discovery's been sitting around waiting for 1,000 years for people to show back up again. And I'm going to say bullshit to that. There's no way, because if Discovery, the ship itself, is 1,000 years into the future and it's just sitting there, are you telling me that this AI hasn't found it?
Well, it doesn't exist at that point in the future. Because,
how does it not exist?
Because they sent Discovery into the future and all that data is on the ship. Control doesn't get it in the 22nd century, doesn't become super omnipotent and all powerful, and they're able to defeat, what's with the crazy eye, man? And they're able to defeat it by conventional means.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You make faces while I'm explaining.
I'm
it,
listening.
I'm
listening.
Just dismiss.
All you get is
I'm
wow.
thinking of theories in my head.
Yeah,
as you say these things.
I don't think there's a way you can really legitimately tie in that scene from Calypso with what's going on in this season, and here's 2 reasons why. Okay,
I just did.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that works. And here's why. If you send Discovery into the future in the next 2 episodes, then first problem is you don't have a Discovery in season 3, right?
You don't.
Oh, yeah,
you don't have this Discovery.
You make another one.
A, Discovery B,
whatever.
Yep,
you have another Discovery that doesn't have a spore drive, and that solves that problem as well.
Mm-hmm. So that would mean
the show is called Discovery, but it's not named after the ship.
Yeah.
It's named after the concept of discovering things.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, if it goes into the future and Control isn't there to find it at some point down the road, then it's in a different timeline, because we've already seen a timeline where Control devastates everything. There's nothing there it's already done the devastation, and there's nothing there to stop it. It destroys all sentient life, because Burnham's mom is in that timeline, and she's living on a planet where there's nothing, and everybody's dead. So it still has. There's nothing that would have destroyed
that timeline.
Well, yeah. It's just all convoluted as all shit, isn't it? Anyway.
Indeed, it is.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because Klingon time crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can change everything with a Klingon time crystal, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
I do like the little, you can only do a Vulcan nerve pinch if you have nerves. That little quick little throwaway line from the nanobot control guy. That was funny. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. We got 2 episodes left, right?
I guess.
So it does feel like more and more that Daniel's correct. They're not going to tie anything up. It's just going to be a hurry rush job in the last episode, because You know what this means, right? We have 2 episodes left, and we have 3 more signals to cover in 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. So far, it's taken a whole episode to talk about 1 signal.
I bet. Okay, here's my prediction. We only do 1 more signal, kind of figure out what they are, and that's it. Why cover the other 2? Yeah.
Or it could be a 2-hour finale.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know the titles of those last 2 episodes. We don't have a synopsis of those episodes. We just know that something happens where they're fighting with the Section 31 ships in the next episode with Enterprise, and that's it.
Actually, this is the 2nd season of a Star Trek show. Mm-hmm. And usually around the 2nd or 3rd season, they start doing 2-part cliffhangers between seasons.
Yep.
So they may not resolve anything.
Well, yeah. And
they might best of both worlds us. At which point,
I mean,
Chad's head
there was a cliffhanger last season too. Yeah.
Last season wasn't so much a cliffhanger as it was, holy shit, we have to end the Klingon War in 25 minutes or less.
You don't think that's going to happen with the signals? We got 15 minutes. Let's end these things. Yeah.
I want to love this show so bad. Despite Burnham.
Are they going to discover the reason for the signals somehow through, like, I don't know, essentially detective work?
No, I know what'll happen.
Hey,
I know what'll happen.
Let's punch into the sphere data.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what they are.
Yeah. No, I know what'll happen. Burnham being Burnham, and has to be in control of everything and has to save everything and everybody. She'll go steal that time crystal and put her hands all over it. Figure out what it is right there, and we'll see it in 5-second flashbacks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When's the Orville come back?
Not next week, the week after. So, does it come back next week? Because we were off.
No, I think it's the 11th. I think it comes back the 11th. I think it is this week.
Okay, so that is next Thursday.
It's
yep.
coming week. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that'll be interesting to be talking about the Orville again.
Yeah.
So, because this show is just pissing me off every week. I want to love it so bad. I really do. I mean, I enjoy it. If you just take everything you know about Star Trek and just let it fall out of your head for the hour that you're watching the show, it's entertaining. I mean, it's entertaining.
But that's
it looks
hard.
Great and it's entertaining, but that's really hard to do for someone who's watched all 29 seasons 3 times or more.
Yeah,
it's really hard to do. And that's not really that's I guess at the end of the day, that's not really the audience they're going for now, is it, gentlemen? The audience they're going for is the JJ Star Trek audience. That's who they're going for.
Yeah.
So, it's very, very disheartening. But anyway. All right. Is there anything else we need to cover with that, guys? Because we're getting up to our hard time limit here. It's a fast episode today.
Good. I think we're good.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens next week. And we'll make fun of it when it's terrible.
Yeah, we probably will. I mean, I feel bad. I'm starting to feel like that neurotic guy, where I'm just bad-mouthing every episode. But it's kind of hard not to just pick these things apart. They're making it easy.
But here's the way I see it. He hates the girl. We just like to make fun of her every now and then.
Yeah. I love Sonequa Martin Green. Don't get me wrong. And it seems like CBS
I'm talking about
is
the
making
show
her,
as if...
No, Michael Burnham. I don't like Michael Burnham at all. But... No. They do seem to be making Sonequa Martin Green, though, their go-to spokesperson. I mean, all of a sudden this week we're getting ads about CBS All Access while we're watching a CBS All Access show, as if I need to be sold on the idea of a subscription, because guess what? In 2 weeks, Discovery's over. Mm-hmm. So now she's their spokeswoman for it. That's kind of funny. But no, I love her as an actor and as a person, but Michael Burnham, I just can't. Mm-mm. Oh, and another thing, too, that I've seen going around, I want to mention real fast, just so that I can get more hate mail at the Chad is wrong at gmail.com account. Everybody's talking about how much they love Pike, and he's the best captain out of all the captains in all of Star Trek history. Oh, my God. What the is wrong with you? He is the worst captain.
Right.
He's the worst. He's not a captain. He's a manager. All he does every week is manage. He's not a captain. He's not leading. He's managing. That's it. He's the worst.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Every time something comes up, he's like, Come on, people, give me answers. We got to do better than that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's rallying the troops.
Yeah.
Well, that's the sign of a good captain.
That's called
too, is that
managing. A captain leads. No, you should do this. No, we're going to do that. No, Dan, this be Dan. This is what we're going to do.
He's
leading.
done that.
Not very often. For the most part, he's just managing. I mean, I love Anson Mount. I like the character, but it's like,
how many times did Jean-Luc Picard turn to his crew members and say options?
Well, sure, that's different. But in the heat of the moment, he was never on the bridge going, "Come on, people, give me answers."
Look, it's not like they're holding hands and saying, "Hey, we're going to wish for something better." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's a pet peeve
he's
of
trying.
mine. And I guess he is there as ad hoc captain for, the few episodes this season, and that's it. But still, it's...
Like, timeline-wise, how long has he been captain there? What, a couple weeks?
No, it's longer than that.
What's a timeline?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which timeline?
Which one?
Discovery timeline, TOS timeline,
Kelvin timeline,
JJ-verse timeline.
Yeah.
Are we talking pre-Klingon crystals, post-Klingon crystals?
Anyway.
Let's unshackle ourselves from canon. We'll be fine.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, they've already done that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they've
done that. And they've done
it. I'm going to hit them with a shackle.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, that's it.
I think that covers it, guys.
I'm going to have an aneurysm if we keep this up.
All right. You know what? I have to say to the listeners, please don't respond to the ultra negativity of this episode and say screw these guys. All they're doing is hating on Discovery. It's not that. Just remember that we are passionate. We are passionate about Star Trek. That we love Star Trek with every fiber of our being, and that's why when it doesn't live up to its own standards, it hurts a little bit.
Yep.
It really does. It hurts. It hurts me in the cockles of my heart. It just
that is not an image I needed.
Nobody wants Dan's cockles.
No. Holy crap. Edit.
That might be the episode name right there. Dan's cockles.
That's a term.
That's the title of the title of the show. Dan's cockles.
Yeah. Dan's cockles. Everybody listening to this, I want you to be gentle to Dan's cockles.
Gotta cup the cockles.
That's right.
All right.
All right, we're done.
All right.
I'm gonna go Google cockles to make sure it's an actual thing.
It is. It's at heart chambers.
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. See, you're over there busting my cockles, and you knew what it was all along.
Yeah. And I said we had to be gentle with your cockles.
That's right. I'm the one who made the cupping motion.
That's right. It's a heart. Be nice to it.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Good show.
Right.
Thanks for the time.
Bye, guys.
See everybody next week. Thanks.
Well, there you have it, another episode in the can. Check us out at Trekcast.com. Also, if you would, please subscribe to us via iTunes. Leave those reviews, subscribe to us, we get some numbers, get up the list, get more listeners, do more shows, have more fun. But for now, we're all done. So live long and prosper, and we'll see you next week.